Today we're tackling something really epic. Uh, Susan Cooper's 5-book sequence, The Dark is Rising.
It's a huge undertaking, yeah.
Yeah,
We're basically charting this massive, eternal battle between the light and the dark that she builds across the whole series.
absolutely. It draws on everything, doesn't it? British myth, Arthurian legend. It's all in there. You've got these ancient powers, kids caught in the middle. Even the seasons feel like they're part of the fight.
That's a great way to put it. It's not just a story, it feels like a whole cosmology. So our mission, really, is to boil down the key plot points, who the main players are, the big themes.
Right. Kind of give you the essential roadmap without you having to, reread all 5 books right now, though you should.
Definitely read them. But yeah, we'll provide the core framework.
Okay, so let's start with that core conflict. The light versus the dark. What are we actually talking about here?
Well, it's framed as these two fundamental, almost abstract forces. The light is about order, tradition, keeping things safe, you could say,
Yeah.
guardianship.
And the dark.
Chaos, definitely. Selfishness, destruction. It's this force that wants to unravel things, corrupt them. And this fight isn't new. It's been going on forever, cycling through time.
And the main agents of the light are the old ones.
Exactly. These beings who aren't quite human tie deeply to the land, to time itself. They pop up in human form, most importantly, Merriman Lion.
Great Uncle Mary. Or Mr. Lion, depending on which book you're in.
Right, he's the central old one we follow, the one who really embodies the history of this long war. The text mentions he's been searching for the secrets of the old world for many, many years. He's ancient.
And the dark's agents, the source material calls them the enemies, the wicked men. How do they usually appear?
It's interesting because often their wickedness feels very human. Greed, malice, this urge to control or possess things. Think of the Black Rider. He's terrifying, mythic.
But also just a man, Mr. Middleton, in some ways.
Exactly. Or the earlier ones, like Mr. Withers in the first book. They might serve this ancient cosmic evil, but they operate through very recognizable, almost mundane human menace. It's not always giant monsters.
Okay, so we have this huge conflict. How do we, as readers, navigate it? The story follows 2 main groups, right?
Yes, 2 distinct threads that eventually weave together. First, you've got the Drew siblings, Simon, Jane, and Barney. They're just ordinary kids on holiday.
Very grounded. Their part of the story feels almost like a classic adventure story, finding an ancient object in Cornwall, which turns out to be.
The Holy Grail, no less. Yeah, their
Yeah.
story starts quite small scale, relatively speaking.
And the other thread.
That's Will Stanton, an English kid who, bang on his 11th birthday, discovers he's not ordinary at all. He's the last of the old ones.
His quest is much bigger, much more mythic from the start.
Totally. He has to find these 6 powerful signs of the light, hidden across time, basically, to prepare for this massive final showdown with the dark.
I love how it starts with the Drews, though. That very human entry point before launching into the huge cosmic stuff with Will. So let's dive into their quest first. The hunt for the Grail in Cornwall.
Right, so the Drew family arrives at this place called the Grey House in Trewissick, Cornwall, ready for a summer holiday.
And Great Uncle Mary is there initially. The kids are all over him, chattering like squirrels, the book says. He seems like this big, slightly eccentric but loving uncle figure.
But that sense of cozy family holiday, it lasts about 5 minutes.
Doesn't it just... Mary basically says he has to go and look for something, jumps in his car, and just leaves them.
Yeah, roars off, leaving the kids feeling pretty uneasy. And that absence is key. It immediately establishes his role and the light's typical method.
He's the guardian, but not the hero of their quest.
Precisely. He sets things up, he protects from the shadows maybe, but the actual finding, the legwork, that falls to the humans. The ones from the track, as the prophecy calls them.
So the kids are left to their own devices, and they start exploring the attic.
And that's where they find it. This terribly old manuscript map, rolled up, hidden away.
This is where Jane really comes into her own, isn't it? She's the quiet one, the observer.
She is. And she has this brilliant moment looking at the map. There's this faded, smudged writing, Ring Mark Head.
Which sounds like gibberish.
Right, but Jane puts it together. She realizes it's not Ring Mark Hate. It's probably meant to be King Mark's head. King Mark from the Tristan and Isolde legends.
And that connects the ancient map directly to a local landmark they can see, Kimar Head.
Yeah.
Suddenly, myth is real, and it's right there on their doorstep.
It's a fantastic piece of deduction. But the moment they have that clue, the dark starts to move in.
Yeah.
And it's so creepy how they appear.
Yeah, not as monsters, but as charming seaside visitors.
Exactly. Mr. Withers is the prime example. Immaculate white clothes, fancy yacht called the Lady Mary. He seems so friendly, offering boat trips.
But asking just a few too many questions about the Grey House, about old books, about maps.
It's all veiled probing, calculated. And it's not just him. You have Miss Withers, the local vicar seems a bit too interested.
And Mrs. Polk, that's the one that always gets me.
Oh, Mrs. Polk is brilliant writing. She's the absolute picture of a cozy, beaming, red-cheeked village woman, hired to help clean, brings them food, seems totally harmless. Motherly, even.
The heart of domestic safety. Until Barney catches her red-handed.
Yep, trying to sneak off with the old telescope case where they'd hidden the manuscript map. She's working for the dark. Shows how deep the infiltration goes, how danger can wear the most ordinary face.
It's not the obvious threat, it's the one you let into your house.
Precisely. And things escalate from there. Subtle probing gives way to more direct action.
Like the burglary, where the thief only searches the rooms with books and maps.
Exactly. The dark knows what it's after. And then Barney has that terrifying encounter with Mr. Hastings.
Described as a tall black figure. But he doesn't attack Barney physically, does he? Not at first.
No, he tries to mess with his head, tries to confuse him about good and evil, suggesting the light is just using them, that maybe the dark isn't so bad. It's psychological warfare aimed at a child.
Introducing that moral ambiguity early on.
Yeah. And it's around this time Merriman reappears briefly to really hammer home his limited role. It's a key moment.
He basically stands there, this huge figure in their small room, white hair almost touching the ceiling.
And says flat out, I'm the guardian, no more. I can take no part and give you no help beyond guarding you all the way. He puts it all on them. Find the way yourselves.
No magical shortcuts from him. They have to earn it.
Which they do. They figure out the clues, follow the map, and find the grail, this small, ancient golden goblet hidden in a seaweedy crack in the rocks. A real moment of triumph.
But it comes with a huge cost, linking their story immediately to the bigger picture.
Absolutely. Because as they're escaping with the grail, Barney makes a split-second decision to save the cup itself.
He throws the manuscript, the key to deciphering the strange runes on the grail, into the sea.
Wraps it in lead so it sinks fast, out of the dark's reach. So the grail is safe, but the knowledge needed to understand it, its history, its power, that's lost, gone.
Saving the object but losing the meaning. That loss is what pulls their story towards Will's, isn't it?
It has to. The grail is recovered, but it's functionally useless without that lost manuscript, which forces us to shift focus to Will Stanton, because his awakening changes everything.
And the tone shift is immediate and dramatic. We go from a Cornish seaside adventure to, well, something much darker.
Literally darker. Will's 11th birthday, Midwinter's Eve, Christmas Eve.
Yeah.
And the world feels wrong. He describes it as a growing, terrifying feeling.
Like a huge weight pressing down on him, trying to take him over.
Yeah, trying to turn him into something he didn't want to be. And the world outside reflects it. Heavy gray clouds, a feeling of menace.
And that horrific attack by the rooks on the old tramp, the walker.
That's a key signal. This isn't just bad weather or random animal behavior. It's the dark actively manifesting, showing its malice.
Will is physically pulled out of his reality too, isn't he? He walks down a familiar lane.
Huddercombe Lane, yeah. And suddenly it's different. Snow-covered, leading into an ancient, unknown forest. Time is already bending around him.
And that's where he meets Merriman again, but not as Great Uncle Mary.
No, as Mr. Lion. Sterner, more remote. And this is where Will gets the big reveal. Merriman tells him they are similar, that Will has been born with this high purpose.
He's the last of the old ones, sign seeker. Immense power, immense responsibility dropped on an 11-year-old boy.
And he gets his first sign, right away the iron sign. Iron for the birthday. It starts immediately. But with that power comes instant danger.
The dark doesn't wait. The Black Rider shows up. Mr. Mithethan.
Right at his house. Christmas Eve. Just standing there staring with this open, triumphant challenge. Yeah, it's incredibly intimidating.
And Will reacts instinctively, with fury.
Pure protective fury. He throws out his hand to stop the rider, but instead, he stops time. His entire family eating, talking, laughing, they just freeze.
Like waxworks. That scene is terrifying.
It really is. Yeah. Because it shows the sheer scale of his power, but also how uncontrollable it is initially, and how utterly isolating. He saves them, but by literally removing them from the flow of time, from reality.
It immediately raises questions about the light's methods, doesn't it? His first real act of power involves overriding his family's existence.
Absolutely. It shows that to fight this war, the old ones have to operate outside the normal human framework. There's a cost to that power, a distance it creates.
He's immediately thrown into the deep end. He joins the other old ones. We meet Merriman, Miss Graythorne, Farmer Dawson, John Smith.
Right, in the church. They've had to form a circle, link arms, just to withstand the Dark's direct assault.
That scene with the rooks attacking the church, it's
Yeah, no.
visceral.
Hundreds of them, described as black flurries of malevolence, beating against the church but really attacking their minds. The book is explicit. If Will had been alone, the Dark would have overwhelmed him right then.
It's the strength of the circle, their combined power, that saves him.
It establishes the stakes and the need for unity among the lines. Now, the second sign, bronze, that involves the Walker.
The old tramp attacked by the rooks earlier, his story is incredibly sad.
Deeply tragic. It turns out he wasn't just a random victim. He was someone who betrayed the old ones long, long ago. Maybe in a duress, maybe tricked. The details are hazy.
And his punishment, his doom, was to carry the bronze sign.
Yes, for centuries. Time past your imagining, Merriman says, constantly hounded by the Dark, never finding rest, carrying this sign. Bronze carried long.
And Will's role is to release him.
Merriman says Will has to stand alone with him and command the sign from him. It's not taking it by force. It's an act of authority that breaks the curse.
So by taking the sign, Will finally gives the Walker peace.
Exactly. Rest from that eternal burden. It's a really moving moment, tinged with sorrow. Though Merriman does mention the Walker has one more part to play later on.
It shows the long memory of this conflict, the old wounds. And Merriman really tries to give Will that historical context, doesn't he, with the time travel?
Yes, that's crucial world building. They perform magic, and Will finds himself back in Roman Britain.
Why? What happens there?
Merriman uses that moment in the past to hide the whole set of signs, the circle of signs, inside a stone coffin, protected by the power and solidity of the Roman era.
So that's why the signs were lost and needed finding. They were deliberately hidden way back then.
Precisely. Hidden somewhere the Dark couldn't easily reach. Sealed in time, waiting for Will, the last old one, to be born when the Dark rose again in its greatest strength. It shows the light's incredibly long-term planning. Cold, maybe, but strategic.
That kind of long-term planning, that foresight. It brings us to where the two storylines start to really merge. The Lost Grail manuscript and Will's quest for the signs collide over the Greenwich.
Ah, the Greenwich. What a creation. It's this utterly unique, wild magic.
Jane witnesses the ritual first, right? In Cornwall again. The local women make this figure from branches and leaves, a spring rite. Very pagan, very old.
Yes, it's a women-only thing, very secretive. But Jane, being Jane, she observes. And she doesn't just see a faux custom.
She perceives something else.
Something ancient, boundless, outside of time itself. She feels its power, but also its appalling, endless loneliness. It's described as being beyond the categories of light and dark, utterly neutral, but immensely powerful, like nature itself.
And somehow, this Greenwich got hold of the lost manuscript.
Yes, having been tossed about in the sea, it recovered the lead-cased manuscript Barney threw away. And it keeps it, calls it its secret.
And it doesn't care about the light or the dark.
Not one bit. It explicitly says, it matters nothing to me what happens between the light and the dark. It's completely self-contained.
So Will and Merriman can't just use Old One power to take the manuscript back.
No, that wouldn't work. This kind of wild magic doesn't respond to command like that. They have to use gentleness, persuasion.
They appeal to its nature.
And crucially, they leverage a promise Jane made to it earlier. The Greenwich gives up the manuscript because of that human connection, that promise made in sincerity by Jane.
Which again emphasizes that raw power isn't everything. Sometimes
Absolutely.
empathy, connection, that's the key.
Absolutely. It's a great counterpoint to the raw power struggles.
Yeah.
So they get the parchment back, reunited with the Grail, but there's a catch.
It's incredibly fragile.
Falling apart. Merriman warns they can probably only use it twice, at the most, before it disintegrates completely.
That adds some serious ticking clock pressure, and when they do use it, what does it reveal?
It shows the Grail's true nature, not just a cup, but a source of visions. They see vivid scenes of men running, fighting, crouching behind shields. It connects the Grail directly to Arthurian battles, to the Pendragon cycle, confirms its power and history.
Which then leads logically into the next big quest piece.
Yeah.
The Crystal Sword. And Will has to go to Wales.
Yes, Wales. And there he meets Bran, a really important character.
Bran Davies, or rather Bran ap Gwyn. His identity is complicated.
Very complicated.
Yeah.
And it throws up some major ethical questions about the light. We find out Bran is actually the son of King Arthur, the Pendragon brought forward in time. But his mother...
Bloodwyn Rollins, she wasn't real.
Yeah, she was created by the light. An illusion, essentially. engineered specifically so Bran could be born and raised in that time and place, ready for his part in the quest.
Wow, okay, that's problematic. The light literally manufactured a person, a life, for their own ends.
It is deeply problematic.
Hmm.
Merriman tries to smooth it over, insisting to Bran's adoptive father, John Rawlins, that Blodwen's love and her life with him was real, it existed, she felt it just as you do.
But does that make it okay? That the feelings were real, even if the person experiencing them was an artificial construct for a higher purpose?
It's a huge moral gray area. It suggests the light, in its absolute focus on defeating the dark, sees individual human lives and emotions as, well, potentially expendable or manipulable tools for the greater cosmic good. How different is that, really, from the dark's disregard for individuals?
It makes the light far more complex and, frankly, colder than just good guys. They operate on a scale where individual human reality seems secondary.
Exactly, and that complexity continues as Bran and Will undertake their joint quest. They have to travel to the Lost Land
Cum Gwydna, the drowned kingdom, city of Gwydno Garanhir.
to retrieve the crystal sword, which is needed for the final battle. But it's held by King Gwydno in his empty palace.
And the king isn't exactly cooperative.
He's retreated completely into his own mind, lost in grief and despair over his sunken kingdom. He's checked out of reality.
So they don't just have to fight monsters, they have to perform psychic intervention, pull a king back from the brink of catatonia.
Pretty much. It shows the battleground isn't just the physical world or even across time, but also inside the minds and hearts of key figures. Overcoming despair is part of the quest, too.
We've covered a lot of plot, these epic quests, but what makes the books so memorable, I think, is the way they're written, the style and tone.
Oh, definitely. Cooper is masterful at blending the epic and the mundane. The contrast between the Drew story and Will's is stark.
The Drew's parts feel very conversational, grounded. You really believe these are kids on holiday squabbling over small things, getting hungry, getting tired.
Exactly. You mentioned James only caring about mince pies earlier, or Jane worrying about her sunsuit. And the descriptions capture that physical reality, like running with stiff legs after hiding in bushes. It feels real.
Which makes the intrusions of the dark feel even more shocking. Like Mrs. Pock worrying about sandwiches while being a secret agent.
The terror next door, literally. Then you switch to Will's narrative.
It's like flipping a switch. The language gets grander, more archaic, old speech. The magic is overt, powerful, world-changing.
There's no slow build-up for Will. He goes from normal kid to Fury's old one almost instantly, freezing his family like waxworks. That stark image captures the immediate, immense, and terrifying nature of his power.
And the juxtaposition is key. The ordinary world homework, family meals just carries on, frozen or oblivious, while this cosmic war rages around it.
It anchors the epic stakes in something relatable. Which brings us to the big themes the books explore. We've touched on some, but let's dig in. The nature of reality, for one.
Especially time, it's so fluid for the old ones.
Completely. Will slips between centuries easily. The past isn't gone, it's just another place they can access. And figures like the Walker exist outside normal time, carrying burdens for ages, then just fading.
The book describes him getting thinner and thinner until he's gone, like a star blotted out by a cloud. It's eerie.
It highlights the different kind of existence the old ones have, which leads to that theme of the weight of power and knowledge.
Merriman really drills that into Will. He says every smallest word has a weight and a meaning when they use magic. It's not something to be thrown around lightly.
Power demands incredible discipline, and it brings isolation. Think of the Greenwich again, immense power, but that appalling endless loneliness.
The knowledge the old ones carry sets them apart, too. They can live among humans, but they're never truly of them.
Merriman sums it up when talking about Bran's mother. He says old ones feel things like humans. If you prick us, we bleed. But their core nature is different. Only if you poison us, we do not die.
Connected to humanity, but fundamentally separate from its fragility, its mortality.
It's that high purpose versus ordinary life again. They endure. They have to. And that makes their interactions with humans inherently temporary, or, as we saw with Blodwen, potentially manipulative.
Yet, despite all this cosmic power and distance, the mundane world remains crucial.
It's what they're fighting for. Will's family, his village, the everyday reality that's the anchor. Even if they're oblivious, their continued existence is the goal.
Which brings us, inevitably, to the prophecy, the rhyme that echoes through the whole series.
The structural key to everything, really. It gets quoted multiple times. When the dark comes rising, 6 shall turn it back.
3 from the circle, 3 from the track.
Wood, bronze, iron, water, fire, stone.
5 shall return, and 1 go alone.
Let's unpack that. It lays out the forces needed. 3 old ones from the circle, Will being 1, and 3 humans from the track, the Druze, Bran.
And the middle line is literally the checklist for Will's quest, the 6 signs he needs to gather. Wood, bronze, iron, water, fire, stone.
It gives the whole quest its shape. But that last line, 5 shall return and 1 go alone. That's the chilling part.
It hangs over everything, the implication of sacrifice or maybe permanent separation needed for victory.
And Cooper deliberately leaves it ambiguous. Jane asks Merriman about it directly, and he basically says, I don't know what it means either, it just raises questions. The uncertainty is part of the tension.
We never definitively find out who the one is meant to be.
No. And the ending of the main quest reinforces the separation. Merriman makes it clear to the Druze siblings their adventure is over. They won't see him again.
He draws a distinct line. He says, no, none of you, except my Will the Watchman there. That is the only right way.
Their involvement was temporary, functional, they found the Grail, but for Will, being the Watchman is now his permanent state, his life.
Which leads perfectly into that final thought we want to leave you with. The very last thing Merriman really imparts to Will isn't some final piece of magic lore.
No, it's a command about identity. He says, come, old one, remember yourself. You are no longer a small boy.
The fight might be over for now, but the transformation is permanent. Will is an old one now, forever.
He's gained incredible power, saved the world, but think about what he's lost. His ordinary childhood, that easy connection to his family, who are still, in a way, frozen in their unawareness of what he truly is and what he did for them.
He's become the isolated guardian. So the final question lingers. If protecting the human world requires sacrificing the humanity, the ordinary connection of its protector, what is the true cost of that high purpose? Was the power worth the isolation it demanded?
A heavy question indeed. The price of victory isn't always straightforward.
Definitely something to think about. And on that note, that's where we have to wrap up